The sky above Drathis burns with an eerie orange hue, a consequence of a sun too close to the planet's surface. The ground team, dressed in sleek, pressure-sealed suits, steps onto the cracked, dry terrain. The surface is littered with jagged rocks and brittle, alien vegetation that sways violently in the fierce, toxic winds. Every breath they take is carefully measured, the air too thin, too poisoned to risk inhaling for long. In the distance, towering spires of stone rise from the earth like the skeletal remains of an ancient giant, their surfaces slick with strange, iridescent fluids that shimmer in the dim light. The landscape is barren, untouched by civilization, yet within it lies an almost haunting beauty. Despite the planet's hostility, the ground team can't help but marvel at its dark allure, its savage grace. This world is in the middle of a terraforming process, caught between life and death, on the cusp of being reshaped for colonization. Above them, the skies are ripped apart by violent, endless storms. The winds howl like the planet itself is alive, fighting to maintain its inhospitable nature. Apex predators, massive, agile creatures with eyes like molten lava, circle overhead, their silhouettes ominous against the jagged skyline. Drathis is not just a planet, it's a living, breathing monster, one that will not yield easily. The mission is clear. Scan the planet, assess its viability for colonization, and prepare the surface for human and alien habitation. But the dangers are endless. The ground team knows that their survival here is a fragile thing, a small flicker in the vast hostile expanse. Sergeant Rico Vance stands at the edge of a rocky ridge, looking down at the chaotic landscape. His jaw clenched, his eyes narrowed in concentration. He's an engineer now, someone who fixes problems, who keeps the systems running. Once, though, he was a soldier, a special forces operative trained for combat, prepared to take on anything in the galaxy. Now he's relegated to fixing the equipment, making sure the mission goes smoothly. It's a role he never asked for, but one that weighs heavily on him nonetheless. His training had always been about action, about leading men into battle, about survival against the odds. But here, on Drathis, he's the technician, the problem solver, the behind-the-scenes man. He's good at it, too good, but there's a burning ache inside him, a need to prove he's still the soldier he once was. He looks over his shoulder at the rest of the crew, aliens and humans, working together but not without friction. There are some who trust him and others who don't. His military background makes the aliens uneasy, but it's his engineering skills that keep the team functioning. Rico is the quiet one, the one who doesn't say much but does the hard work no one else can. Still, deep down, he knows that his past as a soldier will catch up to him. It always does. The ground team assembles in the center of their makeshift camp, a place surrounded by towering cliffs and the crackling energy of alien storms. Around them, high-tech equipment hums and beeps, scanning the terrain, mapping out potential areas for future settlements. Drathis is part of an intergalactic effort to expand colonization to new worlds, a place that could be humanity's and its allies' new home, if they can tame it.
The mission is monumental. The stakes couldn't be higher. Rico, with his experience, is part of the leadership, but the burden is heavy. The crew is diverse, alien species that are strange and different, each with their own agendas. Some of the aliens seem too eager to help, while others appear to be waiting for humanity to fail. It's a delicate balance. Humanity is desperate to prove its worth, while the aliens hold their doubts. The tension between them is palpable, but the greater good, the shared goal of colonizing Drathis, is enough to hold them together. The crew's task is not only to assess the viability of the planet, but also to overcome the deep-rooted mistrust between their species. Rico finds himself at the center of it all, caught between the tech crew and the soldiers. His mind is always running, calculating, anticipating potential problems. But deep down, he knows, this mission isn't just about technology. It's about survival, about proving that humanity can thrive in a universe full of hostile forces. And to do that, they'll need every ounce of ingenuity and strength they have. The first sign of trouble comes when a strange ripple in the air disturbs the otherwise still landscape. The ground team stops dead in their tracks. Rico's instincts kick in. He senses it before anyone else. The ground beneath their feet begins to tremble. Out of the shadows, massive creatures emerge, predators with glowing, molten eyes, sleek bodies built for speed and violence. They move in coordinated bursts, their fangs bared, their growls reverberating through the air. Rico's heart pounds as the danger escalates. He snaps into action, barking orders to the crew, his voice steady despite the chaos. He takes point, moving swiftly to get to the equipment, trying to activate the defense systems. But something's wrong. Technology begins to malfunction. The shields flicker and fail, the communications go silent, and panic begins to set in. The crew is paralyzed with fear as the predators close in, their jaws snapping with terrifying precision. Rico doesn't hesitate. His special forces training kicks in and he pushes forward, trying to make sense of the crumbling systems around him. He's not just an engineer right now, he's a soldier, a survivor. But despite his every effort, the situation spirals out of control, and the creatures move in faster than expected. It happens in an instant. The command ship, back on standby orbit, receives the signal they've all been dreading. The tech failure is catastrophic. Communications are down, the defense grid is compromised, and they assume the worst. Rico's gone, someone murmurs, their voice shaking. The crew makes the decision in a heartbeat. There's no time to wait, no time to try to rescue him. In the chaos, they flee, launching their escape pods into the air as Ruthless's hostile terrain threatens to swallow them whole. Rico watches, his heart pounding with rage and disbelief as his team abandons him. He's alone now, left to die on a planet that doesn't want him. The storm rages around him, the creatures stalking closer, but he won't go down without a fight. The betrayal cuts deep, but the fire inside him burns brighter than ever. The dust settles in Rico's mind as he surveys the wreckage around him, alone, stranded on an alien world with nothing but the equipment at his disposal. His body aches, his heart is heavy with anger, but there's no time for grief. He's alive, and that means he has a chance. With the apex predator still prowling, Rico retreats into the dense, hostile wilderness. He uses his survivalist skills, built on years of combat and engineering ingenuity, to create makeshift weapons, improvise shelters, and scavenge the land for what little it can offer. Every move is calculated, every decision weighs heavily. The hostile planet isn't just a threat, it's a puzzle, a challenge to his very survival, and Rico intends to solve it. His mind is sharp, his training kicking in with every step. But more than that, there's something deeper, something primal that pushes him forward. The isolation gnaws at him, the betrayal stings, but he refuses to be a victim. He will fight, he will adapt, and in the end, he will own this world.
Rico's eyes snap open. Pain floods his senses. His body is battered, bloodied, and stiff. He tries to move, but the sharp sting in his chest warns him to stay still. The desolation around him is absolute. The ground beneath him is cracked, a dark brown hue, and the air smells like sulfur, sharp and acrid. He can barely hear the wind, yet something about the silence feels suffocating, unnatural. His helmet lies beside him, cracked. The once vibrant LED display is dead, no longer offering any hope of communication. Panic rises in his chest, but he fights it down. The memories flood in. His team, the predators, the sudden rush of chaos before everything went black. He sits up, clenching his jaw. The thought is too horrific to entertain. They'd left him. The extraction signal was gone, abandoned. The silence presses on him like a weight. Rico's throat tightens as the realization hits harder than the wounds. He's alone. There's no ship, no way off this planet, just him and Ruthless. Every instinct screams for him to act,
But the cold, hostile world offers no comfort, no safety. He takes a deep breath, his voice hoarse. "All right, Vance, time to survive." With every ounce of his strength, Rico pushes himself to his feet. His side aches, a deep wound that keeps him from moving freely. His oxygen supply is low and his desperation spikes. He rips open his bag, pulling out what he can. There's nothing to guide him here but instinct. He's a soldier, damn it. His survival is what he's trained for. And yet, his anger burns hotter than the pain in his body. They left me behind. They left me to die. He stumbles forward, trying to scan the area for shelter. A brutal wind picks up, a storm coming in fast. The sky above is a swirling mass of orange clouds, a constant reminder of the planet's hostility. His hands tremble as he pulls out a survival pack, trying to start a fire. He curses under his breath, slamming his fist onto the ground in frustration. Damn it! The fire sparks to life, but only for a second before the wind blows it out. Rico's rage hits its peak, and he collapses, his head in his hands. His tears mix with the dirt beneath him. He records a message on a cracked device. His voice is steady but strained. "If I don't make it, this planet, it will never have me. You hear me? I will survive." Rico's hands shake as he stops the recording. He struggles to rise, his mind set on the only goal that matters now: survival. The deeper Rico ventures into the wilderness, the stranger it feels. The world itself seems to watch him. The flora, too still at first glance, begins to stir as he approaches. Vines shift, branches seem to bend toward him, almost as if studying him. Rico stops in his tracks, his breath catching in his throat. It's alive. The trees are not just trees. They pulse with a soft, rhythmic thrum, as if they're breathing. The air is thick with something sentient. The predators on this world, once assumed to be mindless beasts, now feel like intelligent creatures circling him. The rocks beneath his feet tremble, and the ground shifts. A distant howl echoes through the air, something he hasn't heard before, the predator's cry. And then, it shifts. He knows now that the entire planet is alive, reacting to his presence. Every step he takes, the planet changes, adapting to challenge him. Rico's heart races, but a part of him recognizes that Drathis is more than just a hostile environment. It's testing him. The challenge here is no longer just about surviving. It's about understanding the planet, learning its rules, and playing by them. Night falls quickly on Drathis, a deep, suffocating darkness that seems to swallow the sky whole. Rico's shelter, a hastily constructed makeshift structure of alien flora and scraps, groans as the wind picks up. It won't last long. His pulse pounds in his ears as the first clawed creatures approach. They're silent at first, but suddenly a screech breaks the night. Rico's heart skips a beat. He pulls out his rifle, only to find it malfunctioning. He swears and throws it aside.
The predators circle his shelter, their red eyes glowing in the dark. They are relentless, drawn to the warmth and movement. The air smells of ozone, the storm intensifying. "Come on," Rico mutters, adrenaline flooding his veins. He grabs a torch and ignites it, holding it like a weapon. The creatures lunge, their claws scraping against the makeshift walls. He fights them off with his fists and anything he can get his hands on. Metal scraps, stones, whatever's left. Rico's breath comes in ragged gasps as his exhaustion catches up with him. He barely holds on as the storm rages outside, the creatures clawing and snapping, trying to get to him. For a moment, it feels like the whole planet is working against him. He slumps against the wall, victorious, but barely. The predators have retreated, for now, but Rico knows this is just the beginning. Drathis is not finished with him.
The days blend together in a haze of fatigue and determination. Rico starts using his engineering knowledge to craft a better shelter. He studies the materials around him, noticing how some of the plant life has a tough, almost metallic texture. He can make use of it. He uses alien vines, a sturdy biomaterial, to create a trap that will catch the smaller creatures, less dangerous, but enough to feed him. He filters the water from a nearby stream using a makeshift filtration system of sand and charcoal. With each new success, his resolve strengthens. He's making progress. A map starts to form in his mind as he sketches the terrain on a worn piece of paper. The challenges of the world around him don't seem quite as insurmountable anymore. Rico pauses for a moment, looking at the crude shelter he's managed to put together. It's not much, but it's his. A place of survival, a place to stand against this planet. Rico's first real victory comes when he traps a small, dangerous predator. Its sleek, segmented body covered in reflective scales. It snarls in the trap, struggling against its restraints. Rico watches the creature, his breath steady, and then cautiously approaches. He's learned enough to know how to handle it without jeopardizing himself. The creature's fangs gleam in the dim light, but it's too late for it now. With a calculated strike, Rico ends the creature's life, setting it aside to use for food. In the process, he learns how to filter the water more efficiently. A small, fleeting victory, but it marks his growing understanding of the planet's dangerous ecosystem. He records the moment on his comm device, outlining the predator's behavior and its potential uses. "I'm getting the hang of this," he mutters under his breath. It's not much, but it's something. The first real step toward conquering this world. The immediate danger of the night has passed, but Rico knows better than to think he's safe. He sits down to map out his next steps. His shelter is holding up, and he's starting to get a feel for the world around him. But he knows this is just the calm before the storm. The planet won't stop testing him. He ponders the shifting landscape of Ruthless. The storms are unpredictable, the predators smarter than he ever imagined. And yet, as he traces the jagged lines of his map, a strange feeling grows in him. This world is alive. It's watching. And Rico? He's not just a victim. He's becoming a part of it. He leans back, eyes scanning the sky. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm learning, and I'm going to own this planet. A sense of determination hardens in his chest. The storm clouds gather overhead, but this time, he's ready. Rico knows what he has to do.
6 months have passed. The dense, oppressive atmosphere of Ruthless has become as familiar to Rico as the scars on his own skin. The air, thick with alien pheromones and the scent of decaying flora, wraps around him like a constant reminder of his isolation. But even in the wilderness, even among the crushing silence, Rico's name has become something else, something bigger than the man who once carried it. He crouches low, hidden in the shadows of a dense bioluminescent forest, watching. The winds carry voices, whispers, faint through the trees. Traders, prospectors, and settlers moving in and out of the fringes of space. Every now and then, one of them speaks his name. The wild human of Ruthless, they call him, shivering with both awe and fear. His presence, though unseen, lingers in the air, an unspoken threat. His transformation from soldier to myth is inevitable. The man who once followed orders, who once trusted the systems of command, is now a ghost, a legend walking in the shadows, shaping the wilderness in his image. Rico hears them speak of him, and in their voices, he can sense both the reverence and the terror. They know of him only through stories, of how the wilderness itself has bent to his will, how he outwitted the alien predators, how he survived. Rico lets the words drift over him, but he doesn't feel pride, just the weight of something he has become but never wanted to be. He watches them move, wondering how much longer they will remain unaware of the storm they're about to walk into. The hum of engines echoes across the barren plains of Ruthless as the alien prospectors descend.
Their ships, sleek, metallic, and designed to strip the planet's resources, cut through the thick fog like knives. They land on the surface, their arrogance as palpable as their ignorance. Rico watches them from a high ridge, his breath steady as he surveys their movements. These newcomers, greedy and hungry for the wealth of a planet they don't understand, are already starting to unload their gear. They step out, oblivious to the deadly game they're about to play. They think they've come to conquer Ruthless, but they're wrong. This world is not just hostile, it's alive. And Rico, as its unspoken guardian, knows that its vengeance is inevitable. The invaders, a mixed group of reptilian and insectoid beings, spread out in search of the planet's resources. Their voices are harsh and grating as they speak in an alien tongue, unaware of the shifting terrain beneath their feet. Rico crouches lower, the adrenaline pumping in his veins. His mind races as he watches them. He knows he'll have to make his move soon, but for now, he stays hidden, watching, waiting. The tension is thick, like the air before a storm. The fragile ecosystem he's learned to navigate is about to face its greatest test yet. The first night after the invaders land, Rico makes his move. From the shadows, he strikes. He sabotages their equipment, careful not to leave any trace of his presence. He scratches symbols into their machinery, ancient marks, a language they can't read, and whispers into their minds. Each failure, each malfunction, is a piece of a larger puzzle he's building. As the days go by, the prospectors grow anxious. Equipment breaks down, their tools mysteriously vanish, and strange noises echo in the distance. Rico's presence, his invisible hand, looms over them, and their paranoia grows. He leaves more cryptic messages, these ones written in their language, taunting them. They're not sure whether they're dealing with a vengeful human ghost or something worse. The psychological toll takes hold. The once coordinated group starts to splinter, fear making them jumpy, distrustful.
Rico watches from afar, his smirk hidden by the night. His training had never prepared him for this, to turn fear into his greatest weapon. But now, it's his most effective tool. As the prospectors struggle to maintain their grip on sanity, Rico's influence grows stronger, and he becomes something more than a man. He is a force, a whisper in the void. The wilds of Ruthless have begun to change Rico, not just in spirit, but in body. The harshness of this alien world, once something he fought against, has now become a part of him. His mind has sharpened. He can sense the smallest movements, the faintest disturbances in the air. His instincts are no longer just human, they are something more, something enhanced. He begins to experiment, using the alien technology he scavenged to modify his body. Biosynthetic implants, the remnants of alien biomaterials, merge with his cells, making him faster, stronger, more attuned to the world around him. The pain of his transformation is constant, but Rico welcomes it. This is survival. This is adaptation. And then, something more profound happens. He encounters Kyle, a strange, symbiotic creature native to Ruthless. Kyle, a silent, intelligent being, bonds with him, amplifying his senses and instincts. Through Kyle, Rico can feel emotions he never thought possible. Joy, fear, anger, all sharpened and intensified. Kyle isn't just a survival tool. Kyle is his companion, his equal. The bond between them grows, and Rico begins to understand that he's no longer just a man. He is part of Ruthless now, a reflection of its deadly beauty. The lines between human and alien, survivalist and protector are blurring. Rico and Kyle become inseparable. Kyle's heightened senses guide Rico through the harsh alien terrain, alerting him to danger before it strikes. In turn, Rico provides Kyle with the protection and understanding it craves, a symbiotic relationship that neither of them would have survived without. They communicate in ways that defy language, their bond unspoken but deep.
Rico begins to realize that this alien world is not just a place to survive, it's a place to evolve. With Kyle by his side, his senses are sharper, his mind clearer. Together, they are something new, something that belongs to Drathis, and yet still a piece of humanity. The feeling of unity is strange, yet comforting. Rico has learned to trust Kyle with his life, and in turn, Kyle trusts him with the knowledge of the planet's many dangers. They are a team now, two beings forged by a world neither of them truly understands, yet both are slowly beginning to conquer. A sudden cry cuts through the silence. Rico, his instincts heightened by Kyle, moves quickly. He finds what remains of an alien child, a small insectoid creature abandoned and wounded by the predators of Drathis. For a moment, Rico hesitates. The instinct to leave it behind, to allow it to perish, gnaws at him. After all, this is an alien, a creature from a species that has come to strip Drathis of its resources. But as he stares into the child's wide, frightened eyes, something inside him shifts. The child reminds him of something, someone. Maybe his own humanity. Maybe the parts of him that still care, that still hope. Rico is forced to confront a brutal decision: abandon it, kill it, or protect it. His survival instincts scream for him to eliminate the threat before it grows. But his humanity, the part of him that still clings to compassion, refuses to let the child die. Rico makes his choice. He will protect the alien child, even if it means compromising his safety. He understands that humanity's future may not lie in the things he can destroy, but in the things he can protect. As the prospectors close in on him, intent on reclaiming their lost resources and retribution for the sabotage, Rico prepares for the inevitable confrontation. The child, nestled against him, becomes a symbol of something more than survival, something more than the harsh lessons he's learned. It's a future, a fragile hope, something that even Drathis can't crush. Rico's decision to protect the child weighs heavy on his heart. But as the first alien footsteps grow louder, he knows one thing for sure. His choice has been made. The past is behind him. The future, it's still unwritten.
The jungle of Drathis hums with life, the shadows thick with the murmur of distant predators and the rustle of wind through towering alien trees. 6 months have passed since Rico Vance, the soldier turned legend, first emerged from the wild. His name, now whispered like a ghost story, echoes through every settlement on the fringes of the galaxy. To the traitors, he is a myth. To the Coalition, he is a problem that needs to be erased. A massive ship, bristling with weaponry, descends into the thick, unforgiving jungle. Its hull, built for war, cuts a swath through the skies as it lands with an unnatural calm. On board is a Coalition representative, Corvus Malthar, a man as corrupt as the planet is hostile. He watches with cold satisfaction as his crew begins the extraction process, unaware of the force that lurks beneath the planet's surface. Rico Vance, Malthar mutters, eyes narrowed, a dangerous smirk curling on his lips. Let's see just how long your myth holds up. Rico watches from the canopy, his sharp eyes catching the slightest movement of the invaders. They are more numerous, better armed, but they are unaware of the land they have just invaded. The Coalition sees only opportunity, resources to be exploited, a world to be conquered. But Drathis is not a world that can be easily tamed. The air is thick with the scent of earth and iron as Rico moves through the jungle, his body tuned to the rhythm of the planet. It's more than survival now, it's a call to arms. He has become the heart of Drathis, its protector. The creatures, the land, the very essence of this world respond to him. It's not just a fight for survival, it's a fight for a future. Rico kneels, his hand brushing against the bark of a tree. Through his senses, he feels the pulse of the land, the vibrations from creatures deep within the jungle. He has made allies of every corner of this wilderness. The creatures, the storms, the very elements, they are his soldiers. In his mind, he plans.
The predators of Drathis, once a danger, now stand at his command. He can sense their movements, see their patterns, and understand their behavior. He can predict their strikes with deadly precision. Together, they will wage a war unlike any the Coalition has ever faced. He's not just a man anymore. He is the wild, its voice, its fury, and its will. The invaders won't stand a chance. The heat of the jungle is oppressive, the thick foliage pressing in around Rico as he surveys the scene. Kyle, his symbiotic companion, stands by his side, alert. But there is something wrong, something off. He can feel it in the air, in the way the ground trembles beneath him. A familiar face appears in the distance. Tallow, a prospector Rico once saved from certain death. Tallow had become a friend, a link to the human side of the conflict. But as Rico moves closer, he sees the glint of a communicator in Tallow's hand. The betrayal hits like a physical blow. Tallow, no, Rico breathes, his heart sinking. Tallow's eyes flicker with guilt, but the reward from the Coalition is too tempting. They offered me a way off this hellhole, he says, voice shaking. I didn't think you'd ever leave, but they promised. Rico doesn't wait for the rest. In one swift motion, he disarms Tallow and binds him to a tree. The Coalition's forces are close. Rico feels the weight of the decision heavy on him, whether to leave his old friend to the jungle's mercy or take him with him and risk everything. But before he can make his choice, the Coalition arrives in force, taking Rico by surprise. As they take him captive, Rico's gaze is full of fury, not at Tallow, but at the betrayal itself. He will not leave. This is his fight. The invaders are spread out, unaware that they are already under attack. Rico, tied in chains, watches as the first wave of Coalition soldiers move deeper into the jungle. He can feel the land's pulse beneath his skin, the beat of nature's fury calling him to action. With a sharp command to Kyle, the symbiotic bond flares to life. The ground shifts underfoot, the trees twist, and the skies darken. A massive storm brews on the horizon, a violent wind sweeping through the jungle. The first of the invaders is caught by a massive branch that swings like an angry fist, tossing them to the ground. From the shadows, Rico strikes. The jungle becomes an extension of his will. Every vine, every rock, every storm, a tool in his arsenal. The invaders scramble, panicked, as Rico's guerrilla tactics decimate them, one ambush at a time. They try to fight back, but they are no match for Rico and the planet's fury. The jungle roars with life as the invaders realize they are not battling a man, but the very soul of the land.
Rico stands atop a cliff, his eyes scanning the horizon. The storm has passed, and the invaders are scattered, but Rico's connection to the land is deeper than ever. His senses are sharp, attuned to the ebb and flow of nature's heartbeat. As he moves through the jungle, the creatures of Drathis gather around him. They respond to him now as one would respond to a king. The ground itself trembles underfoot, as if the planet itself has chosen him. He is more than a protector now. He is the voice of the wild, a force that cannot be ignored. The invaders no longer know whether to fear him as a man or a god. The jungle moves with him, as if it is alive, breathing with the pulse of his will. To the invaders, Rico is no longer just a man. They are fighting against something far more terrifying, a force of nature, guided by human ingenuity. The battle rages on, and Rico's mind is focused on one thing: survival. But in the chaos of battle, a piercing cry echoes through the trees. Kale, his closest companion, has been struck. The alien creature, always by his side, lies on the ground, its life force rapidly waning. Rico rushes to its side, his heart pounding. The bond between them is more than symbiotic. It is a friendship, a partnership forged in the fire of battle. As Rico cradles Kale, he realizes the full cost of this war. This planet, this fight, is not without sacrifice. With Kale's injury, the stakes of the war shift. Rico must now fight not just for survival, but for the life of his closest companion.
The final confrontation is upon them. The invaders have made their last push, and Rico has one last chance to rid Drathis of their presence. He leads them into the heart of the planet, where the tectonic plates shift and the land itself is unstable. With a final cry to the planet, Rico triggers the rupture. The Earth splits apart, sending a massive shockwave through the jungle. The mining fleet is swallowed whole by the Earth, consumed by the wrath of Drathis. Rico stands at the epicenter, his body battered, his mind on the edge of collapse. As the last of the invaders vanish beneath the earth, Rico collapses, the weight of his sacrifice heavy on his shoulders. But Drathis is safe, for now. As he closes his eyes, the jungle's heartbeat pulses stronger than ever. He is a part of it now, and he always will be. The sun hung low over Drathis, casting long shadows across its alien landscapes. Towering trees, bioluminescent vines, and jagged mountains painted the horizon. The world, once considered hostile, now radiated with a strange beauty, a beauty that baffled the incoming coalition inspectors. Their ships, massive and imposing, descended into the dense jungles. A stark contrast to the planet's wild, untamed beauty, they came with the intent to assess, exploit, and restore order to a place that had long been forgotten. As the inspectors disembarked, their boots hit the soil with a thud. They looked around, disbelief spreading across their faces. The wild world they had imagined was now alive with the hum of life, its raw, untamed energy subdued by a single human figure standing in the center of it all. Rico stood tall, his body intertwined with the essence of the planet itself. He was no longer a mere survivor. His eyes, once filled with survivalist cunning, now gleamed with a newfound power. He was the guardian of this world, and the planet itself seemed to hum in response to his presence. A senior coalition officer, Jarek Kor, approached, his voice filled with incredulity. This is impossible. A human, alone, controlling this wilderness? Rico met his gaze without flinching. Drathis is not what you think. It's alive, and I am its protector. The coalition officers exchanged uneasy glances. They had come to conquer, but what they found was something far more complex. The planet had transformed from a burden to a treasure, but it was clear that the power now resting in Rico's hands could either be a gift or a curse for them. The Planetary Council convened under the towering spires of Drathis' main settlement, a blend of human technology and natural structures grown from the very planet itself. Rico stood before them, a figure of both power and humility. Beside him, the child he had saved, a symbol of the future, clutched his hand. A representative from the alien factions, the Council of Free Worlds, looked at Rico with a mixture of respect and wariness. The time has come to declare Drathis a sovereign world, the representative declared, his voice echoing in the council hall.
The announcement sent a wave of astonishment through the room. Rico had transcended his role as a mere survivor. Now he was the steward of Drathis, its protector, its ruler. The declaration was more than a political move. It was a recognition of his bond with the planet, one that no outside force could sever. With the child's small hand in his, Rico addressed the council. I do not seek power. I seek balance. The strength of this world lies not in what we can take from it, but what we can give back. This is the future of Drathis, the future of humanity. The council members nodded, though some were still uncertain. But the child at Rico's side, the living symbol of the new era, brought hope. Hope that humanity could thrive not by conquering, but by cooperating. Rico had shown them a new way. Under Rico's leadership, the new society began to take root. The wild, untamed planet became a nurturing environment where technology and nature were no longer at odds. The children learned to grow crops alongside the native flora, taught by Rico himself. The beasts of Drathis, once fearsome and wild, now worked in harmony with the settlers, guided by Rico's bond with the land. Rico's transformation from a lone warrior to a protector and father figure was evident in his every action. The child who had once been saved from certain death was now learning the values of the world Rico had come to love.
As the child ran through the lush fields, Rico watched, a sense of pride filling his chest. This was no longer just survival, it was creation. Together, they had forged a society where strength and compassion coexisted, where every creature, every plant, every person played a part in ensuring the survival of Drathis. They were building not just a home, but a new legacy. Night fell, and the sky above Drathis glittered with countless stars, but Rico didn't look up at them. Instead, he stared at the ground beneath his feet, the very earth that had accepted him as its own. For so long, he had dreamed of the stars, of the worlds beyond. He had once yearned to return to the cosmos, to prove his worth among the stars. But now, as he stood alone in the quiet of the night, he realized that he had no place there anymore. The stars had left him behind, but Drathis had embraced him. The planet had chosen him, and in return, he had chosen it. "I no longer belong in the sky," Rico muttered to himself, the weight of his decision settling over him. "The stars are distant, but here, I am home." His heart was torn between two worlds, the one he had left behind and the one he had created. But in his heart, Drathis was now his true home. Years passed, and the bond between Rico and Drathis only deepened. The once turbulent forces of the planet now worked in unison with humanity's efforts. The planet's wild storms and massive beasts no longer represented danger. They were tools, allies, and sources of strength. The humans who lived on Drathis now thrived in ways they could never have imagined. They had learned to live in harmony with the planet, and in return, the planet provided them with everything they needed. Technology and nature fused together, creating a world unlike any other. Rico stood at the heart of this new society, watching as his people learned from the land and flourished. He had brought them here, but it was the planet that had truly made them whole. As he gazed out at the horizon, he knew that this world, Drathis, would never again be a forgotten, hostile place. It was now a shining example of what humanity could achieve when it chose cooperation over conquest. The new generation of settlers, those who had been born under Rico's stewardship, looked to him with reverence. He had shown them a world where humanity could thrive without exploitation, without greed. A world where they could live side by side with the very forces they once feared. Rico stood alongside the child he had once saved, now grown and ready to lead. Together, they watched as the first generation of the new society came of age, ready to take their place as stewards of Drathis.
"The stars will always be there," Rico said, his voice filled with certainty. "But this is where our future lies. Here, we belong." As the sun rose over the world they had built together, Rico knew that the journey had only just begun. A new chapter in humanity's story had begun on Drathis, a world where humanity, nature, and technology would thrive in harmony, a beacon for the stars to one day look upon with awe. The winds of Drathis howl, the dense jungle alive with the untamed forces of nature. A lone figure emerges from the shadows of the towering trees, their silhouette barely visible against the thick, swirling mists. The visitor, dazed, tired, looks out at the vast expanse of the alien world, unaware of the primal forces that shape it. Another lost traveler stumbles upon Drathis, a world thought untamable. They come with hope, yet in their ignorance, they are blind to the land's mystery and danger. The allure of the unknown calls to them, as it has called to so many before. The traveler's eyes scan the horizon, taking in the wild beauty of Drathis. There's a sense of wonder in their gaze, curiosity, excitement, and a thirst for survival. They take a step forward, the planet's true face hidden beneath layers of unspoken history. It's breathtaking, but something feels wrong. The ground trembles beneath their feet, an odd vibration running through the soil. The traveler doesn't notice, caught in the awe of the landscape. This is the world of Rico, a man who has become legend. The lost visitor does not yet know that Drathis has already been claimed.
ruled by a force far greater than their own. As the traveler ventures deeper into the jungle, the world around them shifts. The trees groan with an ancient power, their branches twisting like sentient arms. The air grows thick, dense, heavy with the weight of something unseen. Then, don't touch the fruit. Don't trust the vines. Never lie to the land. The voice is at once soothing and chilling, the words haunting in their simplicity. The visitor halts, a shiver running down their spine. They look around, trying to locate the source of the voice. There is nothing. The trees stand tall, silent again. Who's there? The voice, deep and ancient, reverberates through the visitor's very bones. It is not human, not even alien. It is the planet itself, speaking as only Ruthless can. The traveler steps back, eyes wide with disbelief. The jungle seems to pulse around them, as if it is watching, judging. The voice continues, cold and distant. This is Rico's world now. His bond with Ruthless runs deeper than blood, deeper than the soil itself. You are trespassing, but if you seek to survive, listen. The air grows heavy with an unseen pressure, the atmosphere charged with warning. The visitor's heart races. They instinctively take a step back. Meanwhile, in the sterile confines of the Coalition headquarters, an entry flickers onto a monitor. Its cold, clinical text, a stark contrast to the emotional weight of its subject. Ruthless, class hazard world, owned and protected by one human male. Approach with respect. The screen flickers for a moment, as if unsettled by its own words. The entry is brief, impersonal, but its meaning is undeniable. The visitor, unknowingly caught in the wake of Rico's legacy, is now part of a much larger story. In the sterile halls of the Coalition's database, Rico's legacy lives on, his name etched into the records, not as a conqueror, not as a ruler, but as a protector, a single man who turned an untamable world into his own. Ruthless is no longer just a planet, it is his domain. The Coalition may seek control, but they know Rico's power cannot be measured. It is beyond their grasp. Back on the jungle's edge, the visitor stands frozen, staring into the unknown depths of Ruthless. They take a deep breath, the air thick with the weight of the warning, the earth beneath them alive with energy. The future lies ahead, but so does the legacy of Rico. What have I stepped into? The path ahead is uncertain. The jungle looms, its shadows long and mysterious. What the visitor does not know is that the trials of Ruthless are not only about survival, but about understanding. Here, the land and its guardian shape all who dare enter. The visitor hesitates, glancing back over their shoulder, unsure of whether to retreat or press forward into the wilderness. And so the journey begins anew. The world of Ruthless will change them. It will test them. And in the end, they may find themselves forever bound to the legacy of the one who shaped it. For Rico's mark is on this world, and on anyone who dares to call it home. The screen fades to black, leaving the visitor standing in the jungle's shadow, their future uncertain, but their journey just beginning.